Hi, I'm Krista. Welcome back to Creating Krista. Last time I talked to you guys about my aortic dissection story, I got a lot of good feedback. A lot of people, telling me that they didn't, know the whole story. People that I speak to often. A lot of people telling me that they couldn't believe how the nurse treated me when she asked me was I a drug addict. And I appreciate the feedback. I hope you guys like and comment and subscribe to this video as well. Today I want to talk about healing. There are 3 different types of healing that I know I experienced after my surgery. The first one being obvious, which is physical healing. The second one is mental healing, and the third one, I shouldn't say is healing, it's more of grief. You go through a period of grief. So let's talk about the physical healing first. Of course, I had to get my scar to heal. If I can, I'll try to insert some pictures post-surgery of what my incision looked like with the stitches and all of that. So there are stitches. When you're a woman, you have to wear a sports bra a lot of the time so that the stitches don't pull apart or pull down. Also, there is issues with mobility. I remember when they woke me up, I know like that same day they made me get up and try to walk the floor in the hospital. And it was really hard. And I didn't think it would be a big deal when they asked me to do it because, it's just walking. And I was like walking for exercise the day before I had my dissection. But it was hard. Going to the bathroom, taking a shower. Oh my gosh. After I showered, I needed a nap. I was like, this should be an Olympic sport. Like, that's how tired I was after a shower. Eating was hard. Eating made me tired. Especially if it was a heavy meal like meat or, some kind of beef or something that it took a lot for my body to digest. That would wear me out. When I got home, they told me do as much as you feel like you can. Ask for help when you need it, but do as much as you feel like you can on your own. So that's what I did. I would go for walks and I would have to baby step my process with my walks. Like, I remember the first walk I took, I didn't even get to the corner of my street, and I'm only the second house on my block. After that, I would go further and further, got to the corner, would get to the next block, would get to the corner of the next block. I remember I live on, like a horseshoe cul-de-sac type deal. And I remember the day that I could walk the whole horseshoe cul-de-sac. You couldn't tell me. I thought I was doing something. But I guess with that healing process, the thing that was hardest for me was being tired all the time and not knowing what my body was ready for or capable of doing. It seemed like every day there was something that I'm like, well, you can't do that anymore. I went back to work after about school started in August. I went back to work September 15th. I remember about a month after I was there, I teach middle school, and there was a fight on the 8th grade floor. And not thinking, I threw myself in to help break up this fight. And physically, I wasn't hurt. Like, I didn't get hit. I didn't get pushed over or anything like that. But my body was like, you tried it. You tried it. My heart was racing. I could feel my blood pressure going up. I felt like I needed to sit down. And I hadn't felt like that in a really long time. So that was a limitation that I knew I had. range of motion, like with my arms and things like that, because of the tightness of the healing skin. Driving a car was hard. Like, making a left turn, or still right now to this day, putting on a seatbelt, because my scar is not flat like they say it's going to heal. The seatbelt rubbing on it makes it hurts. The raised parts on this side, I can feel they're tender. So when the seatbelt lays across my chest, that hurts. Scarring is another part of healing that I think a lot of other people deal with. I should say I deal with it better than a lot of other people deal with it. They say you're supposed to have like this little thin line. As you can see, I do not. It doesn't bother me. I feel the way about this as I think people feel about like a scrape on your leg. I mean, if it was on my leg, people wouldn't be like, oh my God, what happened? They would be like, they just assume that I fell, or, whatever. But it doesn't bother me. Long story short. So that's pretty much the physical hardship for me. The tiredness, the constant learning of the limitations of my body. But I'm getting better. I'm getting stronger. I don't just walk. I jog every morning now. So, things get better, and that's the good thing. Mental healing. Whew. I think this was actually worse than physical healing for me. There's this thing called pump brain. And it's like, I guess the best way I can describe it is I imagine people with beginning stage Alzheimer's feel like that. Not being able to recall people I know name. Walking out of a room and forgetting where I'm going. Cooking and forgetting that I'm cooking. Not being able to remember directions to places that I would go often. Not being able to focus and finish a task. And I'm not talking like everyday scatterbrained, we do too much and we spread ourselves too thin. I mean like literally just zoning out, not able to finish a task. My pump brain has gotten better. A lot better. I do actively have to tell myself, Krista, finish one thing at a time. And I think exercise has helped my pump brain. I think if I were not working out, being active, that it would be worse. Because the more I did, the better it got. There's also a brief period there for me. There was a brief period of, I don't want to call it depression, because I feel like depression is longer and more intense than what I was feeling. But I was definitely sad. You realize that your life has changed and you're not sure if it's for the better. You realize that there are things that you used to do that you won't be able to anymore. Food that you used to eat, things that you used to drink that you can't have anymore. You realize that life is going on around you and you feel like it's going on without you. And it's not anybody's fault. Like, my friends were great. My family was great. Everybody tried to include me in everything and make accommodations for me and pause. Are you okay? Are you too tired? Do we need to slow down? And that kind of makes you sad too, because you're like, people are treating me like a baby. Everybody's acting like I'm so fragile. And in a sense you are, but in your mind, you don't feel that way. In your mind, you feel like the same person you were before the surgery. But you're clearly not. And that's a really hard thing to accept some days. I'm thankful that I have the family and friends that I have, because if they were not encouraging and considerate, I could easily see my sadness slipping into depression. It is a phenomena that's becoming more prevalent in heart surgery patients, so much so that my doctor sent me a survey to see if I was eligible to participate in a study for it. Like, that's how much is happening now. But, thank God, thank the universe. It was a brief period for me, and I had people encouraging me and letting me know that things would get better. Things, it wouldn't always be like this. If I continue to work on myself and do right by my body, I would get better and I would be better. And, and I have. So that's that. And the grieving. I think that's the part that lasts the longest, because in addition to knowing up front what you won't be able to do anymore, you learn new things all the time. So it is constant. It is a repeat reminder that you're different now, and that things that you may have wanted to do, things that you may have thought you were going to do, you probably won't be able to do anymore. Like I said, there are things up front. Like, you've seen the signs at Six Flags that say if you have a heart condition, you can't ride. So I knew I wouldn't be able to ride a roller coaster ever again. I ain't that big a fan anyway, so that wasn't no big deal. But sometimes it's little things that make you sad. Like, I don't know if my body could handle going on a really big hike without it taking the entire day and slowing people down and wasting people's day. Like, I don't like being the thing that slows people down, or being the thing that makes it so that other people can't do stuff. Like, that really bothers me. It really upsets me. I don't like that. Having foods that you can't eat anymore. I promise you, every time I smell coffee, I'm a little sad. And I wasn't like the hugest coffee drinker. It's just knowing that I can't have it. What else? Snorkeling. I really wanted to do that again. I don't think that that's something I can do again. I wanted to scuba dive. I know I can't do that ever. If I ever decided I wanted to have another baby, I can't do that. That one is really hard. That one will definitely keep me up at night, knowing that if that's a decision that I made, if I had a partner and we committed to each other for life, and they didn't have any children, I couldn't give them that. And that's the one I think that really breaks my heart. Like I said, every day is something else. I don't even think I could name everything, just because I don't know what everything is. But with that being said, with the grief being expressed, I will say this. There are people that I see on social media all the time that give me hope and let me know that my life doesn't have to be any less amazing than it was before I had this surgery. And yes, there are things that I can't do. And yes, there are, things I can't have, things I can't experience. but I can pretty much still do anything I put my mind to. They're very, the limitations seem big now, but in the grand scheme of things, they're very small, and I can still have a very full and fulfilling life. And I think that's the thing that gives me hope. I subscribe to a lot of people on Instagram, and I'm in groups on Facebook. Sometimes you got to be wary of those, though, because sometimes they negative Nellies. No, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I'm like, look, I wasn't 50 when I had my dissection. No shade, boo. But I wasn't old, and my body bounced back a little quicker and a little better than yours. And your bag ain't my bag. Anyway. But there are people that I follow on social media that really give me hope and let me know that my life is not over. I'm not condemned to the life of some 80-year-old man who has to take it slow and, do everything at a snail's pace and shake my cane at the whippersnappers for startling me. That's not my life. And I actually look forward to doing a lot of things and sharing those things with you all so that you can see that after medical tragedy, there is still life. After any tragedy, there is still life. You just got to live it. So that was it.